Welcome to Beyond the Surface podcast. My name is Alex, and I'll be your host for today's conversation. Today, we're going to explore something deeply personal, something that touches literally almost everyone at some point in their lives, yet we rarely stop to actually unpack the psychology behind it. We're going to examine the very foundation of how we connect with the people we care about the most.
Let me ask you a question to kick things off. Have you ever thought you were deeply, profoundly in love with someone, only to realize way later on that you were actually just terrified of losing them? Or maybe, you've stayed in a relationship that wasn't making you happy anymore simply because the thought of being alone just felt so much worse than staying. It brings us to a really profound question. Am I in love or am I attached? Because look, on the surface, they can seem almost identical, but they are fundamentally completely different experiences. Today, we're going way beyond the butterflies, the late-night texts, and all those romantic movie tropes. We're getting into the real psychology of it. So let's dive in.
Section 1. The illusion of love. From a really young age, society basically conditions us to believe that true love means completely needing someone. We're taught by literally every song on the radio, every movie, all of pop culture, that needing a partner's constant attention, needing their endless reassurance, and their physical presence all the time, that's true burning passion. We've all heard that classic line, right? You complete me. So when someone becomes the absolute center of our emotional universe, we naturally just label that as love. But sometimes, it's something else entirely. Attachment is making another person completely responsible for your emotional stability. When you cross that invisible line from love into attachment, this massive psychological shift happens. Suddenly, your peace, your mood, your confidence, they aren't yours anymore. They're dictated entirely by someone else. They're a bad mood, that becomes your bad mood. Their text replies, or let's be real, lack thereof, completely determine your happiness for the day. Their approval becomes the sole source of your self-worth, and without even realizing it, you've essentially handed over the keys to your own emotional well-being.
That brings us to Section 2. Love gives, attachment clings.
To really get this, we have to compare their core messages. Love's message is simply, I choose you. It's built on a solid foundation of appreciation. You look at this person, you value exactly who they are, and you make an active daily choice to share your life with them. But attachment's message is, I can't lose you. It's an anxious reflex. Think about it. I can't lose you implies a survival instinct. It's this gripping, tightening sensation that's rooted entirely in panic and self-preservation, rather than actual freedom.
So the crucial thing here is understanding exactly where this anxious reflex comes from. The roots of attachment are almost always grounded in fear. The fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection, and the deep-seated fear of just being alone. If you've ever caught yourself displaying controlling behavior, chronically overthinking every tiny interaction, or seeking constant reassurance from your partner, I really want to validate those feelings right now. You are not a bad person for feeling that way. These are simply protective mechanisms. Your brain is literally just trying to protect you from the profound pain of these three core fears. But here's the catch. When fear becomes the foundation, the relationship inevitably begins to feel impossibly heavy.
Let's shift gears for Section 3. The psychology of intensity.
We need to analyze why unhealthy attachment often feels so much stronger and honestly, so much more intoxicating than stable, healthy love. It usually follows this exact psychological cycle. Step 1. You get occasional, really intense attention. Step 2. They suddenly pull away and become distant. Step 3. Your brain begins aggressively chasing certainty. It maps out this totally exhausting emotional roller coaster. When someone's affection is unpredictable, like when they're super warm one day and freezing cold the next, your brain becomes literally wired to seek that dopamine hit. Every single message becomes thrilling. Every delay becomes agonizing. Every tiny small sign of affection feels like this massive, hard-earned reward. In psychology, it's known as intermittent reinforcement, and it creates a highly addictive, incredibly powerful cycle. I really want to pause here and let this heavy emotional truth resonate with you for a second. Intensity isn't always intimacy. Sometimes it's just anxiety. We so often confuse the anxiety of not knowing where we stand with the overwhelming passion of true love. But a racing heart doesn't always mean you're falling for someone. Sometimes it just means your nervous system is in total overdrive because you simply do not feel safe.
So let's look at the alternative in Section 4. What healthy love is.
If attachment is this exhausting trap, we absolutely need to guide this conversation toward a solution and explore what a genuinely secure connection looks like in the real world once you strip all that anxiety away. Healthy love allows two complete people to grow together. I want you to really notice the word complete there. Healthy relationships do not require you to abandon your dreams, shrink yourself down, or lose your individual identity just to fit into someone else's life. You are not a half looking for completion. You are a whole person. True love is when two wholes decide to walk side by side, enhancing each other's lives rather than desperately completing them.
Because of this dynamic, healthy love creates a very specific, nurturing environment. It creates safety, deep respect, unwavering trust, and crucially, space to breathe. It provides room for both people to become better versions of themselves without that suffocating grip of panic. Love doesn't erase your individuality, it fiercely protects it. In an environment like this, both people stay because they actively choose to, not because they feel trapped or because they feel like they have to.
Let's bring it all together in Section 5, Knowing the Difference. I want to challenge you right now to perform a really deep self-audit on your own relationships, whether we're talking about your past or something you're experiencing right at this moment. Ask yourself this highly introspective question. If this person disappeared tomorrow, would I miss them because I genuinely love who they are, or because I don't know who I am without them? That is a remarkably tough question to sit with. Honestly, it's uncomfortable, but it helps identify the true source of your longing. Are you grieving the loss of their unique soul, or are you panicking because they were serving as your emotional life raft? And follow it up with this reflection right here. Am I becoming more myself or less? Does your current relationship foster a sense of freedom, curiosity, and immense personal growth? Or does it trap you in a state of constant fear, shrinking, and self-betrayal? Look, these questions don't always have easy answers, but raw self-awareness is absolutely the beginning of building healthier connections moving forward. To summarize the core insight of everything we've discussed today, love grows through trust while attachment grows through fear. Wanting to be loved is a beautiful, totally fundamental part of being human. There is absolutely nothing wrong with needing connection. But the strongest relationships are never built on a foundation of panic. They are built on choice, a choice that's renewed every single day. It's about creating a bond where both people want to stay because they feel respected, valued, and ultimately free. At the end of the day, before you can truly build that foundation with anyone else, you have to build it within. The most important relationship you'll ever build is the one you have with yourself. So I leave you with this question. As you look at the closest ties in your life today, are they planted in the freedom to grow or the fear of letting go? If this conversation made you think differently, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Beyond the Surface podcast, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, keep thinking deeper, keep seeing differently, and keep going beyond the surface.